Well, welcome back to the Vinyl Village Garage, where it's 39 degrees of not warm. The only thing great about that is your drinks stay cold. But besides all that, you see here on the floor, I have the rear axle assembly. That's already been sandblasted, painted, reconditioned, so to speak, new brakes. So basically, it's a whole axle assembly from flange to flange I intend to put under the back side of the car here. Last go around, we hooked up the subframe, got it all dialed in, but I think it looked a whole lot better with 4 tires back on the ground. So that's what we're going to get into here today, putting the leaf springs, all the brackets, the bolts, the necessary things that you might need, or maybe you didn't know that should be put on this. Then I'm going to show you what I think is a pretty easy way to do it, or wrestle it by yourself to get it back up into place without causing any damage or scratching up all your hard work up to this point. So that's what we're going to get into here today, putting the axle back in Dad's old Lamborghini. And a couple other small things that I've been taking care of here in the meantime. I've got the whole two-part system here done on the floor pan. It's a sound deadener and thermal, just basically a thermal barrier and a sound deadener coating you put on here on the floor. It's called Lizard Skin. Used on several of my builds. Love it. Super easy, but quick little clip on here. And the other thing I've been working on is sanding down the dash. I put a quick coat of just kind of primer on that after I had it medium blasted. I'm working on getting that all sanded out and ready to paint. So I want to get the dash painted. That way I can start putting things together inside here. So I can put the left-right selector back in it, the stop and go pedals, and the forward and reverse lever there to make it go forward and backwards. That way when I do get that rear axle put back up where it belongs, and put the little twisty shaft in here, I can maybe go for a little test drive around the neighborhood. Really make the neighbors super happy, right? Well, anyway, let's get back on the task here. The rear axle assembly, like I said, I've already sandblasted everything. It's all laid out. So basically, the rear axle is all rebuilt and ready to go. I have all laid out here, all the pieces of parts you're going to need. I have some new leaf springs. These are the 4-leaf style. I think they were from Summit Racing. This is the first time I think I have actually personally purchased brand new springs. So we'll see how that goes. I've used other springs that people have brought to me, and they seem to have worked out, but I'll let you know how these work out. You'll see when we get them all installed. But this setup here is a single U-bolt, and it goes over the axle on the one side. And then we have, I call them T-bolts. They just kind of drop in the little groove here. Then it bolts your spring plate on the bottom. New rubber isolators, new front spring mount, I guess, attaches to the body of the car there. And I also have the rear shackles, all brand new rubbers and everything there. But first thing I'm going to do is get the leaf springs installed on the axle, then also install those pieces on the end of the leaf spring. That way it mounts it to the body. Well, we're already starting off with the same joke we did last time. This ain't going to fit. Can't quite get it to go in the hole again. The problem is there's a bolt that goes to the center of your leaf pack that helps keep everything centered. Then they also dub that bolt as a centering pin that goes in the axle. There's actually the Allen head bolt on the other side. It's fine. It fits down in that recessed spot. Well, that nut's not going to fit in there. No way in heck's it going to fit. Let's say if even you left the rubber biscuits out and try putting this right on that, it won't even clear the nut. So I guess I'm kind of down to what do I need to do? Well, the nut has the threads in the middle. The bolt's the right size bolt. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my grinder wheel, flap wheel, and polish off the hex side of that nut. Now, that seems kind of weird maybe, but I don't have any reason to probably take this back apart. If I do, just lob the bolt thing off and then go back to the hardware store and get a new one. But the idea is to, I guess you say, machine this down enough that it fits inside of here. Did a quick little measurement here. That fits inside that hole just snug. No way in heck did it even come close to fitting over that nut. So, like I said, I'm going to take a little flap wheel, polish this thing down so then this will slide over that stud. So when I clamp it all together, it goes into place. So what damage did we do? Well, let's check this out now. This here will now slide over top of that stud. Before I couldn't get it to go on there. It kind of sat up off the leaf spring like that, but now I can push that thing down and she goes right into place, besides the width, of course. But I think that's going to work. We'll go ahead and do the same thing there to the other side. Now we'll go ahead and put that up there in the axle. Let's talk about this front spring shackle or spring mount. A couple things we had to do here. You got to run the bolt through it, of course, put the nut on it. Orientation is the nut goes towards the outside. Got some grease on here. And the other thing is once you get this installed, you can't get in here to tighten this up. It's just not enough room. You can get a wrench, I think, on this end, but you can't get anything on the other end, so you never really get it tight. So you kind of have to guess where to preload the spring at, because wherever you tighten it down at, that's where it's going to lock in and preload our bushing. Normally, you don't torque down suspension parts until the weight's on it. Not an option. So I put it about where the spring is sitting on the floor. It's not, this surface is not parallel with this surface. They're actually a few degrees up. That seems to work pretty good. It's still a bit of a guess. You may find you have to tweak that some, but I want to snug it up here, tighten it down there with the idea that hopefully I don't have to take it back loose. Then we're going to slide this thing into place. All right. That's torque to spec. If there was any question what brand they are, they're definitely Summit Springs, and there's the part number 2 in case these work out. You know what to get for you. What I'm going to get into here next, though, is where this mounts up here to the body, up under the car. The only bolt I'm going to put in is the front one into the front mount here. I'm going to leave the other 2 out until I swing the axle up into place, partially because I got this preloaded. If I let this where this would swing down, make the axle easy to put it back in, but again, like I mentioned, you can't get to this. So the only way to get more the spring to lay down like I did there on the driver's side is only mount the front bolt in a couple 4 or 5 turns so it doesn't damage the threads. So that's all I'm going to do here on this side. Then we're going to roll the axle into place. I'll look something like this here. We'll hook that front little mount like so. There you go. All right. Just like that. All right. Now that both sides leaf springs are kind of laid into place, I'm going to use these wheels to roll this up underneath. Get underneath you. There we go. Okay. That's about in position. Now that the spring is comfortably residing there in the front, we can proceed with stacking our bits and pieces here. Our rubber pad lined up on the bump, the spring lined up. This one will go on the bottom. Then the plate goes on after that. T-bolts, U-bolt. But the thing to do is this little nice little retainer for the spring works pretty nice. Has a little shelf. Kind of lock this thing in place as you jack it up some. I'll keep the spring from sliding off. Oops, I can see I knocked off my thing here. Well, that's not how that's supposed to go. Get that lined up. Okay, now that's going to line up in that hole in the axle. So forward a little bit. Now we'll jack it up. Hopefully, we're going to get to the point where the spring is supporting the axle. So that rim is going to come off the floor. And that'll help keep us in place when we're actually trying to line up the alignment dowel there. I think that's it there. Now, see the rim is off the ground. Okay, now, all right, I'm on the little dowel already. So, now we just stack our bottom components. Now the T-bolts go to the inside. Now the interesting thing about first generation Firebirds, 67, 68, 69, are all different axle assemblies. The guts are the same. 67, this is multi-leaf. They have a shorter spring pack because in 67, it won't be multi-leaf like you see here. It's a monoleaf, so you don't need the height. So the spring perches are different. You also find out the diff section has big eyelets for rubber bushings like a 4-link. 68 looks just like you see here. Tall, but the axle is round tubed. 69, still tall, but they actually dimpled the one side of the axle. I don't really entirely know why. My guess is for the bump stop, but you'll find that all three axles are technically just a little bit different. 68 and 69 are pretty much interchangeable, no major problems. With 67, you'll have to modify the spring mounts. If you want to use a 67 axle on a 68 or 69, or I guess go to a monoleaf, but that presents other issues too. All right, and the U-bolt goes here on the outside. Okay, now so I can get these bits started. And we're not going to torque these down yet. Just going to get, like I said, get all of them started. I may need to move the axle around just a little bit. Oops. And so far, all the hardware is working much gooder this time. This one's being just a little bit stubborn. I don't like how it feels. All right, there it goes. All right. All right, me. Let this jack down and do the same there to the other side. You know, I'm always developing and working on new ideas. Still gonna leave the jack underneath this side. I just realized something that when I go to the next part, this might make my life a little easier if I just go ahead and throw a jack stand under here if I can get it. That way I roll the jack to the center, lift it all up, make my life a little easier. I might be dreaming, but we'll see here. Oh, I'm just a little too short. I think. Let's see. Oh, no. All right, check that out. Cool. Now, jump over the other side. Same thing here to the driver's side, captain's side, and the passenger side. Now I go ahead and roll the jack underneath the differential. Get my jack stand out from underneath there. Then we'll proceed with doing the next part. You need to install these rubber bushings back here on the springs and in the frame. And get myself a little more room. Let's put this all the way back down. And now the jack's underneath it. All right, the rear shackles. These are original style shackles that I have for the car. Now we're on the passenger side of the vehicle. And why that's important is, well, because you know where I'm at. And that way, in case you're wanting to do the same daggum thing. Now, the thing about it, I've already installed the fuel tank. There's some that say that you can't get these bolts in. You've already got the fuel tank in the way. Partially true, but not entirely. Springs down here low enough right now. I can flop these bushings right in. And then as long as you install this first before swinging the spring up into place, no issues with the bolt clearing the fuel tank. So, FYI, so we're going to put a little bit of grease on the bolt, make your life a little easier. A little grease on the plate here so they don't squeak and make a bunch of horrible noise. I know this from experience. And then go ahead and put this bolt into place and put that to rest. Simple as that. Now when I swing that into place, I don't have to worry about the bolt clearing or anything else. Now the top bolt, it's the same thing. It goes up inside here behind the body, but I have to press these bushings in. They're snug, a little pry bar or subscribe board down there, as you can maybe be able to see that. Use that as a lever and push it into place. Same thing, grease up the bushings, but in this case, the ones that go here into the body at the top, you're going to put some grease on them here. You'll never get them in that frame rail, especially if they're a little bit rusty or the old frame rails. You're really going to fight these bushings to get them into place. So get these greased up. I'll see if I can't get the camera in there and show you how to push those into place. Okay, bushing one from the outside. Just get it started. And again, you can see I have this all covered with a thin coating of grease to help get that thing to move. Now this one here, oh, they kind of go right into place. There by hand. We'll get this one to go too. There we go. Now they're up against the frame, should be just fine. Now, wrestle the bolt with the plate already installed. The bolt has to go this way because you would never get it in from this side because the trunk drop off. Again, gasoline, see now with the fuel tank, you surely can't see it, but you'll see here when I go put it together, you can't get that bottom bolt in unless you start it in the spring like I did. It just won't clear. Or drop the gas tank down. This is a tricky one. Hard to get some leverage on that bolt. She's tight. Okay, so we have Little Richard, not Richard Pryor bar, but Little Richard right here. What is? Nudge him into place. There we go. All right. Fill up tight. That's good. No grease on here won't hurt nothing. Now I can pick the spring up into place. Now, if all that prep work, everything goes well, hopefully, look at this thing go right, take the jack here. I'll just lift right into place. So as we're going up, go check these here. Make sure it looks like they're going in the right direction or the right way. It's not critical, they stay up. And we're getting close. Let's have a peek. Yeah, we got a ways to go. So that's what we do. Getting warmer. Warmer. Getting warmer. I wish it was getting warmer, but it's still pretty cold. If I can get this bolt to go through. Oh, okay. Might be able to get this side. I'll show you what I'm doing here. Okay, get the lighting here is kind of crappy, but I got the axle jacked up high enough now that I can get that bolt started through. And the one in here is, I can hear it. I'm going to put the nut on this one though, then we'll wrestle that top one. But you get the idea. We keep jacking it up until our holes line up, then we start our hardware. Okay, underneath here now, the upper nut is started. The lower one here is started. Now I'm not going to torque these down until the weight of the car is back on the suspension, because those ones I can get to with weight on them. Now, as long as that went well, climb up here to the front. I have these other bolts to put in the front spring mount. if they line up, we should be. Oh, look at that. Must have guessed the angle pretty good because we're pulled up pretty snug here to the body. They should. I think it'll go. You see, it wiggles around a little bit. I'm gonna get this one started, and then we'll get the other one going here. As long as I did this good, or as long as the Firebird, God, they're smiling upon us here. That feels like it's going in by hand. This has got a little bit of a gap. I bet you if I jacked the car up some more, it would close the gap, but we're going to try this. Yeah. Barely pulling the trigger. I don't want to cross there. Those are kind of generic cage nuts. Oh, yeah. That's going right now. Yep. I wouldn't get these too awful tight because we got some. If we need to, this hole here kind of locates the springs, but you can, if you need a little bit of adjustment, like I said, we got to move this axle forward or backwards a little bit so it doesn't dog track. You may have to elongate that hole just a little bit. We're going to take a measurement now with those snug. Go ahead and do the other side. With all those snugged up, I'm going to see how far back our axles sit. What I've done, I went ahead and put some tires back on the rear axles. They're just hand tight for the purpose of measuring. I wanted it sitting on the floor, but I also wanted to grasp or get on camera the fact that this thing's going to be back on the ground on 4 tires. I figured that was video worthy. If you guys or gals remember how disgustingly sad this car was, this has come quite the way back to being a real car again. Now, I'm going to measure from the fender well to the floor, make sure my car is low. But this gap is horrible. I hate it. Hopefully that'll settle down and put all the interior and all the weight back in it. But if not, we got to do something with it. That is hideous. But for the purposes of measuring, let's go ahead and drop the tape measure. All right, essentially what I want to do is make sure the car is level. I'm hoping it is. Shoot down the center line of the tire and the wheel. Snag the fender well. We are high riding monster truck at 32 3/4 on this side. We'll do the same over here. And we are 32 7/8, 3/4. Yeah, good enough. Good enough, he says. Now what I'm going to do is measure from the rocker to the tire and see how our axle is set back. I have 2 3/8. Is that right? I don't know. Yeah, 2 3/8. Hopefully this side is 2 3/8. They're super, super close. If not, like I said, we slotted that bolt just a little bit. Get it playing on the same field. 2 1/2. 2 1/2. So I could actually, it's only an 1/8 inch. It's really not worth messing with, but bump this tire forward a little bit, taking that shackle loose, or even the bolts that hold the U-bolts and the T-bolts. You got a little wiggle room in that too. So I may shift this forward a little bit, but I'll tell you what, it's super, super close. I figured this is get it up close. To do the same thing on both sides, I use this line here on the rocker panel where it meets the quarter panel. That way I know my tape measure is the same side to side. I'll use that as my line here to line it up. So we'll get the tape measure lined up parallel with that line. That way I know also the same height side to side on the car, and I keep sliding it until right where the tape measure touches. What my measurement is here is 2 1/2. The other side is 2 3/8. It could be a difference a little bit of the tire tread at this point. This is just a quick point of reference. And why it matters, ride height, as you can tell here, our distance changes between the tire and the rocker panel. So as long as it's in the same ride height side to side, that's why that becomes a valid measurement. But I'm going to call that really freaking awesome. To sum things up, as you can tell, this is level with the spring. These aren't even tightened down yet. I need to snug all this stuff up, tighten up this hardware. I was leaving it loose because I wanted to shift the axle forward and backwards. But I'm going to tell you, that 1/8 inch is enough for me to even worry about. I'm going to run these all down, torque them. And then the thing about these are they like to come loose. So even the nuts probably wouldn't hurt to put some Loctite on them or something. And then after you drive the car for a few miles, put a wrench on these. I've had several of them come back loose. And again, these here, I'm not going to tighten this all the way down until I get all the weight back on the car, because right now she's loose. I could probably snug up just a little bit to keep her from falling off, but you get the idea. There you have it. The Eagle has landed. She is on 4 tires back on the garage floor. Technically a roller at this point. Now I got to jack it back up. So I got to put the exhaust underneath there, hook up the parking brake cables, get the brake hoses plumbed up. Not that big a deal. I've already got it routed. So a couple little small things to tie it, but I just really wanted to see it on 4 tires. Even though the front's covered with plastic, I assure you, she's sitting on all 4 again. So that's quite the accomplishment, considering I only started this car not all that long ago. Complete sheet metal overhaul, drivetrain overhaul, brakes, everything's all basically back to new, or like new, or it is new. So if you didn't see this thing from the very beginning, go back and check out lots of those videos. You see tearing this thing apart, all the steps up to getting to this point, and measure only an 1/8 inch difference on the axle. That's nothing. That is, I think, actually probably better than factory. So, and it's all happening right here in this little tiny space, my 2-car garage, where I make things happen, showing to you that it can be done. So it overcomes the, I don't got no place to do it. Yes, you do, right here. I've done a complete overhaul. Most time, no one's going to start with a car this bad off, but if you did, it is possible. So anyway, appreciate you following me on the journey of these old rusty birds. I'm going to keep on rolling on the camera here. I'm not exactly sure we're going to get into video next, but it's going to be part of the process of getting this thing back on the road. I'm hoping to do maybe a road trip, because right now we've got blue skies and sunshine. So if it stays like this, we can go for a loop around the neighborhood. So hopefully the weather holds off by the time I get this thing with the left-right selector, the stoppy pedals, and the go pedal, and then forward and backward shift, or I can get in and out of the garage without having to push it. So anyway, thanks for following me. We'll catch you all next time.